Dr. Gregory Horton here. Thank you all for coming over to this channel. If you like the content, please give me a thumbs up. If you think the content is worthy to be shared, please be generous and share. Today we're going to talk about the psychological impact the switching from Team Jamaica to Team Turkey will have on the athletes. And I don't think that the conversation is centered around the psychological impact that the decisions that these young men made, how it will impact them as they move forward with their lives. So I was watching the interview with Henry Roll on Sportsmax TV, and he had some valuable things to share. Now, when I listened to what Henry had to say, I realized that he is the ultimate person who felt that level of betrayal, because he was with these young men, two of them, and he spoke clearly who these two young men are and how they went about addressing the issue and how he felt after the moment. And you can tell that while he was talking to Sportsmax, the hurt, the pain that he was feeling. And I think that people don't really understand where he is coming from. So I have 3 videos that I'm going to play. I'm going to talk about the psychological impact because he mentioned them in his interviews. And I want you to understand what he is going through himself. Some people may say that it is all about the money, but you can tell that in this case, it's not about the money. It's about the lack of loyalty, the lack of communication, the lack of teamwork. He felt betrayed by the decisions that these young men made based on how it was made. So I want you to listen to what Henry Roll has to say, and then I will come back and give you my commentary.
With support, I haven't spoken to them since I've heard that they have officially applied for the transfer. Wayne Pinnock asked if we can sit down and have a meeting, and he would share his views with me, and I guess Jaden would do that. My biggest thing is that, and I just feel this from my perspective to 2 gentlemen I work with, there will be some mental distress later on and sense of loss and displacement, and they will have a divided heart, and that's my main concern.
And he made it clear, the mental distress. I don't think people understand the decision and the mental distress that it will bring forth in these young men's life. He also talked about the sense of loss and displacement, the sense of loss and displacement. Now, these guys are Jamaicans. You know, they're a part of a community that accept them. And when a decision like that is made, they themselves are thinking, how will my country see me? Will they ever acknowledge some of the things that I did? Because these guys were connected to the people. They were connected to the outcome. They were connected to, they have family members living here. And when they sit in their own quiet time, they are wondering now if their legacy in Jamaica is ever going to be uplifted based on where they are. And I'm sure that they are concerned about that. Henry also talked about some of the connection that they have in their communities. One particular gentleman is sponsored by KFC, and he's saying that there is no association with KFC and the country Turkey. So how will this impact his life? Will he maintain that agreement with Turkey? These are some of the things that he might be thinking about. And when he's thinking this way, who is going to be there for him? Who is going to help to counsel him? Because a decision like this will also isolate some of his people who used to support him. Now, Henry was a main person who he could seek guidance and counsel from. And you can tell that Henry, as it stands today, he's extremely upset. He seems very bitter. He seems angry based on how these things were conducted. Now, I can also tell you that when a decision like this is made, it comes with a whole lot of stress, a whole lot of anxiety. And we're going to talk about that. But I also want you to listen to the second video, some of the statements that Henry made. And then we are going to come back and we're going to talk about it. Now, these videos are the property of Sportsmax. So I am only using these videos for information purposes and for educational purposes. So, Sports Max, please bear with me as I use your content to make a point. Listen to Henry, and then I will come back and I will give you my commentary.
Jaden, of course, is a much younger athlete. Are you disappointed with his advisors or people who would have encouraged him to move in a particular direction, especially in regards to representing Jamaica or not?
I am very disappointed because, secondly, I got it as second nature, second conversation. Nobody came to me directly, which is a breach of the agency clause, and that's another story on a different day, you know. But Jaden did speak to me, but I didn't think Jaden was going anywhere because the last conversation we had, Jaden gave me all the reasons why it didn't make sense then. And he didn't want to deal with the collateral damages and so forth. And so I just think that somebody harming them and so forth. $500,000 to someone out of contract, yes, a lot. $500,000 when you're under the age of 30 is not much money. Yeah, it gets you going and so forth. But
I feel Henry's pain. You can see the frustration on his face. You know, that these guys sat down with other people, had the discussion, cut him out of the conversation, made the decision behind his back. And remember, he is the agent. He's the person who must advise them. He's the person that must look through the contracts to make sure that the contracts are in their best interest, because we know that if the Turkish administration will put together a contract, they're going to put together a contract that will benefit the country Turkey and not necessarily these young men who are switching from Jamaica to Turkey. But I want you to focus a little bit on what he said, the collateral damages. The collateral damages. Now, when we look at what he's saying, I'm sure that these young men will be thinking about their career and the uncertainty that they will face. Now, I talked about the contract long term. How will this impact him? These are some of the collateral damages that he's talking about. If this contract is not structured the right way, then this $500,000 can go to $1,000. I'm just saying that because I don't know what is in the contract. But these guys must be sitting thinking about the level of uncertainty based on their career, that if this thing don't go as planned, what are they going to do? Now, we also have to look at the political implications to this contract. Let's say a new party is in power in Turkey. Will they uphold these contracts with these young men? Will they try to reduce it? Will they try to take away the passport for political reasons? These are some of the things that Henry is talking about when he talk about collateral damages. Will they cut the funds? Under what circumstances will they want to cut the funds? He's talking about the backlash that these young men will be faced with. And the backlash is more than a lot of us expected. Now, we don't know what these young men are doing now in their own private space. Are they worried? Are they stressed? Are they bothered? Do they feel any regrets of making the decisions? These are some of the collateral damages that he's talking about. What about the emotional isolation? Can they now turn to people who were always in their corner to support them? And if so, under what condition? Can they come back to their own country and walk the street without being harassed? These are some of the implications to their decisions. And this is why I've always said that young people must seek good counsel. Because when you seek good counsel, then you will make the right decisions. And when you're dealing with experienced individuals who know how to put contracts together, and you don't have the knowledge and the experience, and you choose not to seek wise counsel, then what will happen to you? You will enter into an agreement that does not have your best interest at heart. We're going to listen to the final video, and then I will come back again and give you my commentary. Now, keep in mind that these videos are originally owned by Sportsmax. I'm just using them to make a point. Now, I want you to listen to Henry, and then we will come back and close with my final points.
Pardon?
Are you inclined to think that it's anything outside of financial?
Well, I think that, you know, it was a situation where it was a last minute thing. The thoughts had to be, was much thought into it, because the passports had to be done by the end of this month. But I did the math. I did the math with Jaden Hibbert alone.
And
And financially, it doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't make any sense.
No. I can't disclose.
No, he said something that is very important. He said that the contract was last minute, and as a result of that, they had to rush to get some of the paperwork in. That is a strategy, a perfect strategy that is used on inexperienced individuals. So what it did, it put them in a corner to make a decision on the spot. And then the people who they could turn to for honest feedback, they were instructed to cut that person out, which is Henry Roll. Now you see why, looking deeper into these contracts, that you may find other clauses that are not in the athlete's best interest, because we see the rush. We see how they were isolated to cut off from their key consultants. And we see where they rush to judgment without gathering all the data. Now, I can tell you this, that at least when they are going through their own struggles, their own stress, that sometimes they don't reach out to people who can help them. And as Henry is saying, that he empathized with these young men. They're young, they're inexperienced, they made decisions right now that is not in their best interest. And I hope that he has the influence to help them to reverse the decision that they put in motion. I know that if they don't fix this issue right now, there will be a lot of regrets. There will be a lot of stress and anxiety, right? Because it's never always about the money. I know that a lot of people may think that the money is good, but Henry himself is saying that when he looks at what they are getting for what they are giving, it's just not the best deal out there. So my viewers and my subscribers, tell me what you think about what I think. Do you understand the psychological impact that these decisions will have on these young men? And if so, what can be done to reverse it? No, I thank you all for listening. If you have any comment at all, please leave your viewpoint in the comment section. I thank you very much for listening. I am Dr. Gregory Horton. Have a blessed day.